This is the Farm Hop Life Men's Forum number 12, Taking Back Control. I am Matt Derosier of Farm Hop Life, and tonight, so far, see who else jumps in, we have Chistopher Vidal
Hey.
of SecureFarm. Makes the SecureCoop chicken door opener. He's
Yep.
working on it right now, so he's not paying attention.
I am. I'm just finishing up something. So.
Um, so let's start with personal events, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Let's go through a personal event. Share a personal event of yours.
Uh, Nothing very terribly exciting. It's more of the same. Organizing the homestead and getting unpacked and putting things where they need to be, where we can find them. Bought some shelves because Amazon had their Prime Day, and it's not terribly exciting. I planted a tree today. That's one thing. None of this is all terribly exciting. It's very very pedestrian, but it's just so satisfying. You know,
Yeah.
get it all in place, get it where you can find things, and it's not clutter on top of clutter, and move around and say, I need so and so. I saw that yesterday, and I know where it's at. So, um, aside from that, yet today was not feeling so hot. Some fatigue kept up to me, so I just got a good long afternoon nap, and it's an off day. Monday's an off day, and recovered, and then got outside and worked on in the garden area and things like that. So, you know, it, nothing very exciting, but just feels really good. Just put one foot in front of the other, make progress, and the topic, the show topic, taking back control has been the quest that I've been on. Just trying to take
Yeah.
back control of feeling awful and not getting anything done. From zero to, we're making little progress here and little progress there. So, how about you?
Yeah. Let's see. Over the weekend, brought up Milo to see Katie and new baby Lila. So we were like between Katie and I, we were trading kids. I'd be in the NICU, Katie would have Milo, and then Katie would be in the NICU and I'd have Milo, and just kind of back and forth. And the two actually got to meet like kind of on Saturday for the first time. He can't come into the NICU, and so I've got a picture of like me holding Lila, like holding kind of like showing her like up to like a window, and then Milo and Katie are on the outside looking in, and like that's the best that they could do to like have Milo meet his sister, and it's like it's weird and it's kind of dumb, but it's the best we can do. So
Is that COVID rules?
no, I think it's NICU rules.
NICU rules. Okay.
Because so Lila, her, I think she would have been born like if she was full term, she would have been born like yesterday or something like that. So, um, but she wasn't. But there are babies in there that are currently like 24 and 25 weeks old, and like, dude, I might do a video, and if I can get away with it, in the NICU, there's just their packs of diapers, right? And I'm going to do a video and probably like post it on TikTok or whatever. They have nano preemie diapers up to 2 pounds. Those are tiny babies. Those are
Yeah.
some ultra tiny babies.
Yeah.
And so like I'd be like, okay, here's the diaper that you see like on the shelf, like at Target. Here's the size down. Here's the next size down. Here's the next size down. Here's the next size down. Like, dude, they're tiny. Like, I don't even think they would fit on like Lila's foot. Like, they're so tiny. It's weird. It's kind of creepy too.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was really like the big thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm working on another big thing. I'm doing a collaboration with a bunch of people I interviewed.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I just really started doing it like I guess halfway through yesterday, but mostly today. I've been knocking out some stuff. I'm not ready to share it yet, but
Okay. Okay.
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna
Oh,
be epic.
yeah, you had asked about personal things, and I completely forgot. While I'm not doing the homesteading kind of thing, I'm if I'm sitting here at the computer, it's SecureCoop stuff, and so I hired a German developer to finish up the phone app because I just got stuck, and
Sure.
he's a pro, and he was
How'd you
on.
find them?
I found him through Code Mentor.
Oh, cool.
Yep, worked with him a few times and said, "Hey, would you like to just take this and just finish it? And here's all the bugs that I've noticed, and here you go." And so he started back. He got it back on vacation, and he started into it today. So that's encouraging. I think within a month or two, the phone app will be good enough to publish on the web. But while I had some time, I sat and a little bit of a saga with SecureCoop. I've hit highs and lows and all sorts of roadblocks with it. And one of the roadblocks was the microchip apocalypse that started last year. I was going to base it around the Raspberry Pi. If you know anything about those, they're little tiny little.
I played with them. Yeah, they're cool.
So for the audience, they're little tiny little credit card sized computer, and they're really cool. And they were inexpensive, and now they're extremely expensive. And I noticed that when I started into it, I said, "Oh, I needed some support chips and some extra chips that would make this Raspberry Pi work like it's supposed to." And those chips started to go unavailable at the start of this thing. I said, "I don't trust that this Raspberry Pi is the right solution." So I took like a good year to switch it out from Raspberry Pi to a different core chip, and so in the process of doing that, I had to upend a lot of the original design. So it's radically different than it was about 2 years ago. And one of the things I had said was I'm going to abandon the door opening part of it. Initially, sell a device that only monitors an existing coop door. Somebody already has a coop door opener.
Retrofit, sure.
Yeah, retrofit, and it monitors one. Well, I had some time this week, so I got back into that. So how did I do the motor? How would I have done the motor? And I sort of planned out and mentally walked through how to do that. So that's basically almost ready to assemble and go. I need to start buying a few parts for that and testing that out. So I'll have the sensor, I'll have the motor part, and then also this week I had time and I said, what about my other accessories? I found a power strip. I wanted to be able to control heat, lights, things like that. Power strip, and so a power strip needs Wi-Fi connectivity, and it needs to be able to put my own software on it. And it needs safety certifications. There's so many things you got to look for. And I finally found a listing of those kinds of power strips this week. So, yay on that. The motion sensors, I walked through and planned that out. The water quality sensor, the air quality. So more or less, I've got in my head now a real clear forward path that I can take to bring the rest of it to market, bring the accessories to market.
Nice, dude.
Where it's sort of cloudy before. So I'm just excited about that because this thing's finally rolling after years of just hitting roadblock after roadblock. This thing's really rolling and clicking now. So I'm encouraged. Excited. Yeah.
You better, if you find all your parts, you should just buy them by the pallet right now.
Yes, sir. I got the
put it on a credit card.
Yeah. I bought the core chips for the first round of units. I've got 1,300 chips and 2 big rolls. And they cost $4,000.
Holy smokes!
And they're just sitting in my shed. I'm thinking if I was a thief, I would just walk right past that box and be like,
probably.
"Oh, look, there's the power tools for $20 that I paid for."
I was gonna save this for the end of the show, but since we're still early, we're talking about it. Support Chris right here.
Yes,
SecureCoop.
Yeah. Some of your viewers jumped on my mailing list after I was on the first show.
Really?
But they did not hit the second email, which is the opt-in email. You get
Oh, yep.
with a mailing list.
To confirm it.
Yeah, they didn't confirm it, so I'm like, oh, you guys need to get on there and confirm it. You can get that, and if you're a fan of the Survival Podcast and the Member Support Brigade, he's got a coupon. You can combine it with this one. So thank you for pimping me out there.
Sure, dude. I've got another idea brewing. When it does get released, I might do something crazy and wild, but we'll get there later.
Okay, I like it. I'm excited.
But yeah, I got a question about the German guy. Is that expensive?
Yeah,
is he expensive?
Yeah. I want to. He's I don't remember his rate. I want to say it's 80 every 15 minutes or something like that.
$80 every 15 minutes,
or maybe it's 80 an hour. It's the number.
You should pay him in euros. I heard it's.
Yeah, it's the number 80 sticks out in my head, and at this point I'm like, he's good. I don't care. I'm gonna pay. So, yeah. The company gave me some 401k, and I borrowed against that to pay, and and when you borrow against your 401k, you just pay it back to yourself, so it's not like I'm losing any money.
Sure.
But I figured the 401k probably won't be worth all that much, so let's just make use of it now.
Oh, dude. We should talk after the show. I did something extreme with my Roth IRA.
Yeah. All right. I'll hear about it.
Yeah.
right.
For everyone else, that's a teaser, and I might share it later, but I probably won't. I'm just gonna share it privately.
All right.
But anyway, so let's get into this.
Okay.
Where's my notes? There's my cursor. Here I am.
Take control.
Okay, so taking back control, and right at the very top, for everyone that isn't looking at my notes, I wrote not political. Like, this isn't a red versus blue BS thing, and I think I wrote that in the email too. Like, so you can just stop. That's not where we're going, because I don't care about who's in the White House. I don't care who's in the Senate. I don't care who's in Congress.
Yeah.
Don't care. Stop it. I'm talking about taking back control of your time, your money, your food, your family, your employment, your community.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the show. We can wrap up. But honestly though, like, what made me think about this topic is, like, I like working. I don't like my work. And that's just like from a satisfaction standpoint. Like, I've done it enough. I'm ready to move on to something else.
Right.
I want more control of my time, because like, I have to go to work.
Yeah.
It's not like I get to go to work kind of thing. So
I'm with that.
Yep. So if I can take back control of my time and be like, I'm going to go to work today. Like, and this is going to be a good day. Like, this feels good. Like, I want that. I want to get that feeling. So what are you trying to do to take back some of your time, Chris?
Yeah. Well, hiring the developer for one. I was just dragging it out.
Sure.
And a lot of things in life are a trade-off. So, I can either have a 401k that's probably not going to be worth anything, and I didn't contribute to it. It was all company contributed. So, but I can either have that, and it wasn't that much anyway, or I can spin my wheels trying to develop in a language that I'm not really good with. And that. So I said, I'm going to hire a guy, and sometimes you just have to make those kinds of decisions about because they are just trade-offs. You just can't have it all. What's that? That iron triangle, that the thing where you have,
you can pick two.
Yeah, you can only pick two: fast, quality, and inexpensive. So you can only pick at most two. Sometimes you don't even get any. So taking back my time, we just installed some. It's Warlord. We just
Hey.
installed some drip hoses. My wife was getting tired of standing out there, 45 to an hour daily to irrigate with the hose, and I said, all right, I bought some drip hoses. Let's install them. And so we ran some drip hoses and picked up some extra hoses to run those out through the garden, so that she'll have that going on. Time wise, the book Getting Things Done by Dave.
Chappelle.
It's been years since I've read it. Let's see.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Allen.
Dave Allen.
Yeah, Getting Things Done. And he the way he breaks down all of your tasks and things, you say, what's the next step to getting this thing done? And that's what you just keep asking yourself that. What's the next step to getting this thing done?
Sure.
Hey,
How's it
Warlord.
going, Warlord?
Hey. Well, I'm busy, but I find myself in a queue, so I figured I'd join in.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. So we're just talking about what you do to take back control of your time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, let's see. One of the things, simplify. Yeah, I deal with a lot of livestock, and getting livestock, into a more coordinated place, or say, instead of having, say, separate pens or something like that, they might have their internal struggles and all of that, but getting, figuring out how to, say, get 15 rabbits to not fight too much and putting them all in one pen sure makes it a lot easier to take all of those rabbits instead of having them in separate cages and so on.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's there are a lot of ways that you can capture your time, but one of the most important, and this is something that I'm still trying to work on, is learning how to delegate. And I have farm hands now. This is, of course, that requires that you pay for them, but I have to learn, okay, this is a task that I find is very important, but I need to be able to trust that guy to do that task.
Right.
And, make sure that he knows how to do that task. Takes a little bit of work up front, but delegating is very, very important for retaking time. So organize things in such a way that you can do things as quickly as possible, but also learning to delegate is up there. And if you can delegate to a machine, even better.
Yeah, automation.
Do you have a ranch hand, Warlord?
Right now, I have a full-time ranch hand and a part-time ranch hand.
Nice. Are they working out pretty well? I mean, they must, right? Otherwise, we're gonna keep them around.
Full-time guy is amazing. I mean, yeah, he's just fantastic. But he's going to be going in for surgery soon, and I'm going to lose him for a few weeks.
Oh man.
The part-time ranch hand, she is going to be bumping up to full-time probably come this winter, and but at the same time we're looking at expanding our operation. So that's the other side of taking things back. How to take back your money. Well, my ranch hand costs so much, I need to improve the profitability of my farm, or for
Sure.
the operations there. So I'm looking for ways of expanding income while also having ranch hands who can help pick up the slack and take care of things. So it's a lot going on, and there's going to be more.
And Warlord, your answer made me think of another way to take back your time, which would be through. I keep stressing this because it's been so valuable for me. Is learning to use native plants, native or very plants that love your region, and then also permaculture principles. So you're working once. You're doing all the work once and putting it up front, and then you can more or less walk away. I know it's not that perfect, but the diminishing effort after that point is just so valuable. So that's where you're, at me as the fatigue guy, the tired guy. I spent a lot of time just thinking and learning, and that when I did have the time, I used that time to save time by understanding the process and understanding how it all works instead of just jumping in and making a lot of dumb mistakes. So
he also touched on making money, like making his money work. Like, so to get your time, you put in money for this ranch hand, but now you have to also up production to make it worth more. So or at least pencil out, right? So what are you guys doing to take back control of your money, so that you don't have to? Well, Warlord, you got your ranch, so you don't have a regular job. You work 24/7. So how do you make it so that you don't work 24/7 with your money?
Well, I'm the ranch is not the only thing that I have, which is very lucky for me. I have rentals. I have long-term and short-term rentals. The long-term rentals cover my personal costs pretty well. The
Nice.
short-term rentals are kind of coming up. They're not covering their own costs quite yet. But I have a nice cabin in the woods that right now is doing almost nothing for me. I'm paying property taxes on this thing. I'm paying utilities, and it's just kind of sitting there. But the ranch is still under construction. There's only one real building on it, and it's a greenhouse. We're living in a camper. So I haven't really moved out of the cabin yet. But one of the things that we're working towards, we're going to sell the old cabin, which should give us a fair bit of money. And then we're going to build a shop and an indoor arena with that money. The indoor arena opens up a lot of possibilities. We can hold picnics. We could rent arena time, by the hour for probably about $20 an hour or so. We could board horses. So there are a lot of opportunities that become available when you have the ability to fund those ideas. And now this is not going to be an inexpensive venture, but it should be lucrative once things are set up.
Definitely.
But we're still selling milk, and we're refining that process. We should, in the near term, double our production soon. And milk is our big seller. So we're probably going to be Well, right now we've got 3 cows on the line, and they're producing about 5 gallons per day now because we've refined our process a little bit. We've been doing milk sharing, but we found out that the cows were holding back unless we treat them in a certain way. What we have to do is we have to put their calves away overnight, and then when we go to milk them, we release one of the calves, and as soon as that calf starts suckling, the cow drops all of that milk, which, you know, it's right now it's a small part of the operation, but we're still figuring these things out, and that's going to become a not insignificant part of our income. So the way I look at things, especially in a time of inflation, and we're suffering some pretty serious inflation, the way I look at things is I want to move my assets to things that hold value very well, such as real estate, but try to get as much of an income off of those things as possible to try to keep up with the inflation on an income level, cover my costs, and cover me moving forward. If I can get that arena, and should be able to get the arena and barn stalls and all of that to cover the cost of all of our farm hands. In fact, that most of our farm operation will be covered right there. Then everything else on top is going to be gravy, and that'll be useful for doing things like buying and maintaining equipment, building the actual farmhouse that we're working on, and so on.
I love to live vicariously through people like you who are doing those great things. All we've got is a little couple 1,000 square foot little garden, and we're just making the most of what we've got. we're not doing. My son did get paid for a couple of plants this week, so I was glad to hear about that. But it's not. Ours is not for income; it's for money savings. So.
Sure.
We're moving in that direction to grow those things, and I just put in another avocado tree today, and
Wow.
I don't know if it'll make it. It's not looking good, but it'll try. And we got a bunch of little plants and trees and things like that, and so it's we're offsetting a little bit of our groceries, and with the intent that we'll practice these skills and reproduce them and do more and more and more and more permaculture style, and then just get it in the ground and walk away. We're not doing that, but I'm thinking about as I work with automation, and you're talking about letting a machine do a lot of work for you. As I think about it was Jack that inspired me to go down a career path of automation.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be the way that this great reset and these elites, because they know somebody has still got to make the crops grow. There's something in somebody, these elites, they have in their explicitly stated, I want to reduce the number of people. So these are, explicitly stated in their goals. But they know they're still going to need to keep some people around. And so they're going to need machines. So I know that the career that I'm going into this backyard automation, into this gardening automation, and maybe even scaling up to farm automation is going to be the future. And I'm working with it in a way. I'm coming at it from the libertarian kind of perspective, where the person with the backyard flock can take charge of themselves and not put it in the hands of big agriculture. So the person has access to these tools that formerly only multi-billion-dollar, million-dollar Monsantos and things had control of. So that they can then save their time. I've got plans now for an electric fence monitor, so you don't have to go walk your electric fence, to check for shorts and make sure those are good. You'll get an alert on your phone, hey, this fence went down, go out and check it.
That's awesome. Will
yeah.
it work across a couple hundred acres?
Yes, it will. The range should be about 10 miles.
Are you using like Zigbees or something?
It's called LoRa.
Okay.
LoRa is a free, unlicensed protocol, so it's a very low bandwidth, but it just all you're doing is sending pings. Hey, the fence is alive. The fence is alive. That's all you're doing.
The XBs are the hardware.
Yeah, XB is one type of hardware. That's correct. They're really cool little piece of hardware. I would use. I forget. I was looking at some modules today. I forget. It has to be certified by the Department of Making You Sad, the FCC. But regardless, it shouldn't be too expensive, and it should send notifications to your phone, and solar powered, so it's like hands off.
Nice.
It just works, and that's putting this power that these elites want for themselves. That's putting this power in the hands of Backyard Joe, who doesn't have to. He's got the predator coming around, and now he's got a motion sensor to let him know, hey, there's something in the garden. And so he doesn't have to spend as much time freaking out about predators coming around. It's a force multiplier is what it is. Cameras and motion sensors and things like that, properly used, are a force multiplier. They let you take your focus off of constantly protecting everything and do other things. So I think this is going to be the future and the way that it's going. And I'm hoping to always stay close to the libertarian backyard gardener and always meet their needs.
Dude, you're going to have to end up selling them on the black market. The elites and the whatever are gonna try to shut you down.
Yeah. And they'll have they'll have their big money and they'll have their big companies doing their thing. But I'm just a scrappy little startup. I'm gonna take those ideas and put them into inexpensive little things for the backyard guy. So.
Now, if you could warranty your product to also cover cattle and not just chickens, I think you'd be. I think Warlord would be a customer in a heartbeat. Like what?
That'd be a big guarantee, but it's something to consider. Because I was telling Matt that I guarantee that if something happens to the flock, and I don't notify the customer, and something happened, then I'll replace the flock. I don't know if I could do that for cows.
Okay, yeah, with chickens, the threats are smaller.
Yep.
The threats get in more easily.
Yep.
And there are a lot more threats. It's difficult to keep chickens safe.
Yes.
Sure, you can put up an electric fence. Coyotes will figure out a way around that. Raccoons will figure out a way around that. And they will take down your chickens pretty quickly. You get a bunch of cattle in a field. Best protection you can give them, automated protection that you could give them is a bull. The bull takes care of a lot of your safety concerns there, but it also makes your cattle more dangerous to deal with.
Yeah.
The thing is, your cattle, except for the young calves, your cattle are not going to be worried about coyotes. For the most part, they're not even going to be worried about wolves if they get in, and wolves are less likely to come in through electric. Grizzlies might be a threat, but grizzlies are very not interested in coming through electric. So when you look at the potential for loss as an insurer, I'd put my dollars on insuring cattle over chickens any day, just because you're far less likely to have any losses.
So it's something I might even be able to do then. Put that guarantee. Yeah.
You need a mechanical bull.
Let's up the let's up the ante a little bit. If I lose chickens to predation, I can report it, I guess, but I don't think my state really cares about me losing chickens to predation. But if I lose cattle to predation, I can report that, and this state will actually recoup me the loss. So in a way, I'm kind of already.
Wild.
Now I don't know if they'll recoup me for any losses for, like, say, cattle theft, but if I lose cattle to predation, yeah, they'll cover.
Chris makes a product, or is in development of a product. He's very close of an automatic chicken door and like monitor and everything like that. And his product is warranting chicken loss. That's how that came up.
I kind of gathered that.
Okay, I didn't know if there was like, okay, make sure everyone's on the same page. Cool.
Yeah.
So we already kind of talked about taking back control of food. What about family? Because it seems like our society today is like trying to absolutely destroy the family unit. Like every which way, it's getting attacked. They don't want you to be a happy family. If you want to be a family, fine, but you better be a miserable family. Like you better hate each other's guts. Your kid better sneak out of the house and do nefarious things, and your daughter should come home and scream in your face every night. Like that's the family that they want. So what are you guys doing to have a stronger family unit?
I could say that in our family, we had quite a few rocky years at first. It was just challenging, difficult. We went to therapy. We went to talk to people. Just really had a hard time. Never really got anywhere with the therapy, but in my own life, I picked up a book by Henry Cloud called Boundaries, and I learned where boundaries are the principle is like a fence. If you don't, good strong fences make good neighbors, and so I can't control what goes on outside of my boundaries, but I can control what I let in to my world. And I started to step up and place healthy boundaries on, this is what I will do and this is what I won't do. And, it wasn't liked at first, but it has served to really grow us closer and stronger as a husband and wife. With the kids, it's the same thing. There's things I won't do. Okay, kids, I'm not going to do this for you. If you want it, you have to take care of it. You have to do it. And I tell my oldest one, when you turn 18, I'm hoping that I would at least be able to get you a car and a tiny house. We don't have much funds. I'd do more than that, but a car and a tiny house, I could do that. And that way, especially if it's got solar, it's got rain capture, they'd have all their needs met. And I would say, okay, if you want more than that, it's up to you. There's my boundary. I'm not going to babysit you for the rest of your life. So this is what I'm hoping to give you so that your basic needs are provided for. If you want more than that, you have to go out and get it yourself. And so for me, taking back control was simply not trying to control someone else, but control my own self. Control, this is what I will permit. This is what I will allow. This is what I will stand for. You may do this, you may not do this. I had to do some things that were not popular, but I've seen great results out of it. So, you gotta just bear down and stand firm. And this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I won't do. That's how I take control of our family, because I can't go out into the rest of society and make all these families around here do the right thing, but I can do for myself the right thing, and hopefully stand firm in an example. So
that's awesome. That's a great answer.
Well, that's a big question, though. How do we take control of the family or maintain sanity within the family? The first thing that I would do, and I'm getting into the just getting the whole idea of fatherhood into my head right now. We have one on the way.
Congrats, dude. Nice.
Yeah. So
right.
this is going to be a new experience for me. So, in short, what I'm saying here is I really don't know what I'm talking about, but let's go ahead and talk about it anyways.
You can talk out of your ass. That's fine. We'll give you a
Here.
pass.
So the first thing that I am doing is I'm limiting outside toxic inputs. We have no cable TV.
Nice.
So
Same.
first things first, we're going to nip that one in the bud.
Yep.
We don't want cable TV.
Yep.
Unfettered access to social media is not going to happen. So, I'm going to have to back away from a lot of the social media stuff myself because I need to model
Yep.
the kind of behavior that I expect. I can't say, do as I say, not as I do. It doesn't work well for me. And I know when I was a kid, it didn't work very well because that's what my parents did to me. It really didn't work well. So I really had to deal with a lot of shall we say, template mess because my mother was a narcissist. My father basically checked out. So my template was a real mess. And that's why here I am. I'm 47 years old and just now becoming a father. I had a lot of stuff that I had to work through.
Sure.
Been there.
That's kind of difficult. I mean, that's extremely difficult because you don't have, unless you have like a cool uncle or something or whatever to look up to or kind of take you under his wing. Like you don't get that. Even like a moderate example. It doesn't even have to be a good example. Like, oh, he did his best, and I'm gonna see if I can try to improve slightly on that. If I can do the same as this guy, like that is like a father figure, then I'd be happy with that. But man, that sucks that you can't even you have like a negative baseline.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There's a whole lot of I don't want to do this, but when it comes down to it, I have to have a toolbox with which I can deal with just about any situation. If I'm missing a tool for a particular situation, I'm going to reach for the only tool that I can grab, and I know that does not come from a good toolbox.
Sure.
So what I cannot afford to do is enter becoming a father without going through and planning what can happen. How do I deal with these issues? How do I handle all of this stuff when I don't have tools that I want to use? I need to make the tools that I want to use. And that takes a lot of research. That takes a lot of figuring things out. And that takes a lot of game theory in a lot of ways. I have to think about things that, okay, I did this when I was a kid. My parents did this as a result, but I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. What do? Let's plan it out with a rational mind ahead of time so that when I'm faced with that situation, I don't approach it emotionally and revert to revert to experience when that experience didn't work and caused relationship problems.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yeah, you're learning. You're intelligent enough to say that is what I want to avoid, and you're not going to just let it happen. Because so many people just let it happen, and that's just you should be commended for that because you're recognizing. Yeah, I didn't want kids or be married at first, and that was because I was afraid I would just screw it up. I just too selfish and just screw it up. And I just finally just said, okay, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm a born again Christian. I've got a big God, and He'll be with me. He'll help me through it. And it's been great. I was like, man, teenage years are going to be awful, and not one eruption, no problems. Like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, but these kids are great. So I'd maybe go on the right track.
Nice.
Well, there's a trick to it, though. What has to happen, you see, when you have kids, the kids, of course, start up completely dependent, and over time they individuate. When that hits its peak is right about 12, 13 years old, when the kid starts getting into puberty and wants to be with friends more so than parents and so on. The thing is, while that kid is developing, you need to develop a relationship with your kids, and that relationship needs to be strong so that when they want to individuate, you have a really solid background that's not based on authority, because all of that authority is going to go out the window. That kid hits 13, forget about authority. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So there has to be something else to fall back on, and it has to be a solid relationship.
They gotta want to like hang out with you and do cool stuff, and like the fact that you're already thinking about this, and like you're gonna do just fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Like it's when you're talking about, oh man, I'm blanking on the specifics, but what made me think of it is like when you're a parent, you got to think like 10 steps ahead. What actions am I making today is going to have an effect 3 years from now? Like,
oh yeah,
am I setting the groundwork for failure or a weird dependency or a weird thing or whatever? And yeah, just gotta have that foresight, like nothing else, because you're working with a living, breathing being, a human being, like that's gonna have its own like thoughts and feelings, and it's not like it's similar but different than a business, where like you gotta like have foresight into your business, like okay, projections and blah 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 whatever, but it's not as complicated, right? Like there's flow charts and blah 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 for running a business, but it's a complete like Pandora's box with a child.
Well, it's gotten better. There are a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there as well. Popular culture is something that I tend to steer clear of. There's that old meme, well, I was spanked and I turned out okay. Yeah, and you can pick those people apart pretty easily. One person I know is a very strong proponent of spanking. He owns a small shop. He kind of hides in the back. He pops out when customers come by, but that's all he does. He's been to one social function in the last 20 years. So did he turn out okay? Well, he's an all right guy, but I wouldn't say he turned out okay.
I used to be on that team. Like, I was spanked and I'm fine. And then someone made an argument where like, you're using violence to correct like a child's like behavior. You should be able to talk to the child. And like, if they don't understand, well, then you're using violence for no reason. Like,
yes.
So then why are you hitting them? You just want, like, you're frustrated and you want to hit your kid, apparently.
Yeah, and this gets into a topic that I can go on and on about. Really, that is a massive topic. Okay, so why did you hit your 2-year-old? Well, he did something bad, and I'd love to be able to reason with him, but he's too young to reason with. Oh, okay. So how could that kid possibly know that you hitting him is because he did such and so action that you felt was bad? because that would take reason. And you said the kid doesn't have reason. Okay. So what are we teaching the kid? We're teaching the kid that violence is okay. The ability to control emotions is not necessary. In fact, it's better to not control emotions because, I mean, mom and dad can't control their emotions. Why should I?
Sure.
And then, throwing fits is acceptable. Violence solves problems. I mean, that's what that teaches. Do we want to teach these lessons? I don't think so.
No. If you're spanking your kids, you are totally not in control. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Totally. Yeah, it's a great way of building fear. It destroys the relationship. And if you think, well, okay, look, it would be better to damage our relationship now, and also it destroys trust because you're supposed to be a protector. But if I destroy the relationship now in order to have a well-behaved child, I'm going to win. Okay. So what happens many years down the road when you need help and your kid decides to put you into a home because you destroyed the relationship? You didn't have a good relationship. I mean, you send your kid off to daycare all the time. Now, well, maybe in the future when it comes time for us to, in our later years, are we going to be put into a adult daycare? And what kind of adult daycare will we be put into? The kind where the people are kind and nice and the facilities are well kept? That costs money. Or the kind that, well, maybe
The suicide pod.
the people there aren't so nice.
Right.
Well, we have these choices to make. We make these choices now. We build our relationships with our kids now so that in the future we can rely on our solid relationships with our children. And that's something that we need to consider.
I'm going to be the polite objector here, and I'm outnumbered, and I'm not at all prepared to talk about this. But I want to say that there probably is more to the story of a person turning out awkward and spending 20 years never going to social events and never seeing anybody than spanking. And it doesn't necessarily mean that a child will end in distrust, and it doesn't necessarily endorse violence, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship is destroyed. I've got some excellent trust with my kids. I got some excellent relationships with my kids. I think there's more here, and I like I said, I'm not prepared to talk about it, so I don't know what all I would say that is, but it seems like there's something more that's going on there. As time went on, I had less and less and less had to spank the children, and now it's never. And they just I tell them that they need to do something, and they yes, daddy, and we love each other. We have such a great time, and there's so much trust, and we help each other out, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I think it can be done badly, and I think it can be done well. I grew up under it done badly, and I learned what not to do from mom and dad, and I'd never in anger if I spanked my children. Never in anger. Always with the intent of, yes, they do understand it when they were 2 years old, and that they know that they do. And so always with the intent of training and correction and bringing to the right place in their life. It's just borne out some wonderful fruit. Got 3 teenagers that I love so much, and we have a great relationship with them. That's about all I can say on that, because I'm not prepared to talk about it.
No, that's a good answer, man. I don't recall a time being spanked like where my dad wasn't mad.
Mm.
So like that's where I see it from. And so like if you can keep your cool, and like I guess I could see that. I'd rather just not spank them. But if it works for you, then it works for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Guys,
go ahead, Warlord.
So I'll catch up with you guys later.
Awesome. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Good talking.
See ya. I'll just take him out. There we go. Yeah, my brother and I laugh.
It's complicated.
It's
not. There's no easy answers.
Yeah. I agree. What I think Warlord was saying is that, like, similar to an expression that my wife uses, is like you cannot build a house on sand. And so, like, if you do specific things, spank out of anger, you are damaging. Like you're not setting good groundwork for your house,
right?
Thus being the relationship.
I'm with that. I agree with that.
Yeah. My brother and I, we laugh about it now, being that like my dad would be like, "I'm gonna spank you so hard, you're not gonna be able to sit down for a week."
You laugh now, but that was traumatic growing up. That did impact you.
Yeah. I had there was a lot of times like now that I say that, it kind of triggers a memory like, oh, my butt kind of hurts just now, like thinking about how that was said to me, like because it was never like it was always a hand. It wasn't like he took out a belt or like a wooden spoon or whatever, because like my dad went to let's see. I'm pretty sure he went to like Catholic elementary school and stuff like that. So like he was like, like taught by nuns, and he'd get like the ruler, like the traditional ruler on the knuckles, and so like I think with each generation, not you, like sometimes, let's say sometimes it usually is brought down a level, right? So like if he was spanked with like a wooden spoon and whapped on the knuckles with the ruler, from nuns. He's like, okay, I'm gonna spank my kids, but I'm not using a ruler. I didn't, or a wooden spoon. I didn't like that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
my kids know that I always know that. All right, and I make sure to verbally say that I'm doing this because I love you, and this is and you need this, and it's not because I'm angry, and I've just never been. One of the things is just it wasn't easy. I never really took it personal when they would make a mistake or do something that they knew they shouldn't. It wasn't personal. It was just a kid being a kid, doing rebellious things that they want to do, and I took it as my responsibility to teach them, you don't do that. You just don't do that. And they are great. They get compliments when they go places, and they're a little socially awkward. That'll change in time. I was too, but they're just great kids. So
my son's over 2 years old, and sometimes for like practically no reason, he will put himself in timeout. Like the timeout is on the stairs, or like let's say he gets like super worked up about something, and we're like working on like calming him down.
Oh, good.
He'll go walk over and sit on the bottom step, and he's like, "Sit down, time out."
He knows that if he doesn't, my kids are aware too that when they're pushing their own limits, they know.
Yeah. And he'll be like frustrated.
Yeah, they're smarter than you. Yeah, they're smart.
Yeah, they're smart. Well, hey, that hour flew by.
Yeah, I did.
For sure. I didn't even get to employment, taking back control of employment or community. So
Yeah.
people, blah, 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 fill in the blank. It was great that we talked about employment and community. So go ahead. Okay, first of all, is there anything that you wanted to touch on or wrap up on or say that didn't get said?
One of the ways that that sets apart the I think it's the Navy SEALs, and it's called extreme responsibility. I think there's even a book called that. And let me see, extreme response. I can't type. Yeah, Navy SEALs. So there's a book called Extreme Ownership by a former Navy SEAL. I haven't read it, but I get the idea. And it's that you can't control things outside of your circle of control. You just can't.
Sure, yep.
But you can take ownership of how you respond to those things. You can take ownership of preparing for it to never happen again. You can take ownership of, as Warlord was talking about, of delegating and delegating correctly. So the victim mentality is we're swimming in a society of victim mentality, and it's just hurting people, and they're ruining their own lives when they don't take ownership of their own issues. Yeah, I'm chronic fatigue. Okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit around and complain, or am I going to think about all the ways that I can cope and start to change diet and things like that? And I can be a victim. Nobody wants a victim. So taking ownership is the way forward of taking control, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
You reminded me of something, and I don't know if you did this on purpose, but I can't believe I missed out on the whole sphere of control, sphere of influence thing, and I can't believe I missed that. But
get that graphic for the slide or something.
People can pretend. This is a low budget podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Good enough.
So I forgot I was going to bring this up.
Just Google or do a web search. Sphere of.
Well, there's a different thing I was going to bring up. There was a tweet that I read today, and I was like totally going to bring this up on the men's forum tonight, and then we didn't talk about it. So it's a quote from Wendell Berry in his book Mad Farmer, which, by the way, never read any Wendell Berry, but he sounds like a cool dude.
Yeah.
The quote is, "Not even your future will be a mystery anymore. Your mind will be punched in a card and shut away in a little drawer. When they want you to buy something, they will call you. When they want you to die for profit, they will let you know." I was like, dang.
Yeah.
If that isn't about taking back control, I don't know what is. And we didn't even talk about privacy, which I think there's plenty of sharing this photo on being out here. Yeah. We could do a part 2. Maybe. Let's give it a couple weeks. Maybe. Right. Let's let it brew. We'll figure out something else to talk about.
All right.
And but yeah, I wanted to mention that for sure. So go ahead, Chris, plug your stuff.
Yeah, SecureCoop.com. Get on the mailing list, get the free ebook, get the coupon FarmHopLife. FarmHopLife rocks.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, and look for it hopefully the end of this year, maybe early next, but hopefully the end of this year.
It's going to be this year, he said.
Oh, we're going to do it. I'm going to plug in hard on it.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Awesome. And you already said SecureCoop.com.
SecureCoop.com.
Nice. Awesome.
Yep.
And I am Matt Derosier of FarmHopLife, a traveling homestead family. You should check out our 20 by 23 project. It's pretty sweet. We're going to help out 20 homesteads in the year 2023. You can sign up, farmhoplife.com/20x23 of link in the show notes. That's it.
All right. Thanks a lot for the talk.
Chris signed up, almost, kind of. He's like, just show up. you don't have to work you don't have to work here. You can just show up. And I was like, that's totally not the
there
point.
really isn't that much to do, man. You come and just
Go find something to do.
okay, find something to do.
I'll paint your RV or something.
Come and hang out and just yeah. That's the hope.
Yeah, Chris, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone listening.
Yes, sir.
See you next week.
Bye.